Let's get down to business.
Can you paint with all the colors of the wind?
I am on my way. I can go the distance.
Be our guest. Be our guest. Be our guest.
Walt Disney was an Illinois native who graduated from a school dedicated to the fine arts. He had gone through many missed attempts at short film before finally co-launching the Disney Company in 1923. He'd won a total of 22 Academy Awards and had 59 nominations by the time of his death in 1966.
On behalf of all the people who play such an important part in bringing these to the screen, I thank you very much.
Disney created an animation revolution through the 1920s and 30s. He generated the first full-length Technicolor animated film with his production of his multi-plane camera. This movie, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, led to a whole new genre of film, provided jobs for the US, and helped animation begin to follow a plot instead of just a comic. Disney films are still historically recognized as groundbreaking steps to advancing the revolution of animation. Disney's first stab at the entertainment industry was back in 1921 when he founded Laugh-O-Gram Studios. Here he employed many men to help him on his journey to creating humorous fairy tales. However, the company they made fairy tales for went bankrupt, leaving Disney and his workers on the streets. This wasn't for long. Disney got right back up again with the idea of a little mouse in a steamboat. Running to his wife, he told her all about the idea, Mortimer Mouse. She hated it. By no means would she allow her husband to let the poor mouse be named Mortimer. Therefore, she suggested the name that every house in America today has without a doubt heard, Mickey. Of course, in those times they didn't have very advanced color technology, yet he made the most of the two-strip color technology they did have, and used it with a new work, Silly Symphonies. Silly Symphonies was a series of more than 70 humorous shorts that were being broadcast in Kansas at the time. Once seeing the grand reaction he got from the series, he decided to take it a step further. He wanted to up the color strips to 3 and patent it. This required his shorts to be made 3 times. This started him on his way, for this was the first 3-strip Technicolor short ever made.
This is the plan for a super cartoon camera. We call it the multiplane camera. It was intended for use in our feature-length cartoons.
This isn't where he stopped, though. Looking at his works, he noticed something. They were all short, had no plot, and were completely forgettable. He needed to change this. He wanted his works to be known for generations, for them to be timeless, and to be something that a person of any age could sit down, watch, and love. This was the idea that sparked America's first full-length, 3-strip Technicolor film, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. The making of Snow White, which was a 4-year process, was a cornerstone event in animation history because of its uniqueness. Here it was no longer about making the audience simply laugh. He was finally sitting down and making a plot. He used childlike characters in dreamlike settings to identify with those who love fairy tales, specifically children. These ideas and events sparked the production of children's animated movies during the golden age of animation. Other full-length animated films that were aimed at children arose as well. Some of these include Bambi, Pinocchio, and Dumbo.
Himself. Dwarfs' names fit their personalities. This pompous-looking individual is Doc, the self-appointed leader of the group. And this little fellow is bashful. He's secretly in love with Snow White. And this funny face is Sneezy. He has hay fever. And old Droopy Eyes is called Sleepy. And Happy here with the beaming smile. And old Sourpuss here is Grumpy, the woman hater. And last but not least is Dopey. He's nice, but sort of silly.
The impact of these films was huge. By the end of 1938, Snow White had already won a special award in the Oscars. This was groundbreaking, since at the time there was no division for animation, and it effectively paved the way for a Best Animated Film category. By the spring of 1939, Snow White had earned an estimated worldwide gross of $10 million, 5 times the amount that was put into the project. In fact, Snow White was the second highest grossing movie made in the 1930s. It made a lifetime gross of $186.9 million worldwide. Third highest grossing movie of the 1930s was The Wizard of Oz, with a lifetime gross of $17.6 million worldwide, nearly a $169.3 decrease from Snow White. This only further demonstrates the extent to which Snow White has become a powerhouse in the film industry. This isn't where it ends, though. Although we were in a depression, Disney persevered and continued to help the American economy. Millions of jobs were made, pumping money into the then fragile economy of the United States. Actually, Disney resorts and parks alone employ 156,000 people and account for 1 out of every 50 working Florida resident. It also impacted the way people viewed the animation industry. Beforehand, it had simply been a short aimed at humoring the public. With the creation of Snow White, it turned into something more. Fully plotted storylines made for the eyes of children. With the release of Snow White, Disney showed the world that animation was a legitimate way to show a longer, plotted story, humanizing animals for the purposes of conveying a story with some sort of moral that could be enjoyed by adults and children alike. During the making of Snow White, Walt Disney and his team created a new camera, the multiplane camera. This camera allowed the animators to show depth in a scene. The 3-strip Technicolor camera was set above 4 glass planes. Each had a part of the background painted on them. The team of 5 animators would then move all the planes just a fraction of an inch for each camera shot. After many takes, when all of them were put together, the shots would create a 3D background effect. The multiplane camera was used for many animated features, including Snow White, The Little Mermaid, and Bambi until the 1980s. By then, new technology led to a digital multiplane camera on computers. Since the release of Snow White, the Walt Disney Company has become one of the largest film industries in the world. They have created 53 full-length animated features, including the first fully computer-animated film, Toy Story. Disney Productions have since expanded their company. They have made their movies come to life in the 5 Disney parks around the world. From all these things, the Disney Company's annual gross in 2011 was $40.9 billion. Created an animation revolution through the 1920s and 30s. The first full-length 3-strip Technicolor film, Snow White, led to a completely new genre of film, animated films for children. Disney made major impacts on the film industry through animation, such as the creation of his multiplane camera, and helping create an animation category in the Oscars. It showed the film industry and moviegoers that stories with plots and morals, not just humor, can be equally as enjoyable as any short ever made. Disney films are still recognized as groundbreaking steps to advancing the technology of animation.